Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Geoff Dover. With me is John Barban. Let's talk football.
Right, we're going to do our Heisman picks for 2025.
A little early, a little ahead of schedule.
Well, but that's kind of the point of this little exercise, is to see what this is going to look like and see if we can catch any value like way out here.
Yeah, time of recording before the portal window in May. So there's a bit of a caveat with some of these picks. Things could change a fair bit by the time we get, but as you said, that's the, it'd be great. There's a lot of satisfaction in terms of picking something now and then having it be really good value bet once the season gets going, and the prices change. So that's the point of this.
Yeah. Assuming no one breaks a leg or anything. So, all right. So do you want to start, or you want me to start, or where do you want to get going on this?
Yeah. So let's just go do a quick, maybe a brief review of the top five. So according to the odds that I'm looking at here, Arch Manning's the favorite, plus 750. Garrett Nussmeier, plus 850. Cade Klubnik, plus 1,200. Drew Aller, plus 1,400. Jeremiah Smith, plus 1,400. Julian Sayin, plus 1,600. Nico, plus 1,600. Dante Moore, plus 1,800.
Right. So a lot of those are, it's kind of obvious they're all on big time teams. I have Cade Klubnik at plus 1,000 here.
It's plus 1,200 here, so better value.
Okay, well, whatever.
Shop
Same
around.
Thing. Your site's better. I'm on FanDuel right now, so I got Garrett Nussmeier and Arch Manning both at plus 800. So
wow.
Think about that. One of them is a multi-year starter. The other one's going to be his first year. But this is the sort of thing, like, those are just big time teams.
Texas is going to be good. That's what we know. And Arch Manning is was one of the highest rated recruits.
Right.
And he didn't play much last year.
Right.
But when he did, he looks good. They used him mostly in the running thing, but that Texas is going to be good.
But it's not that, it's like you're kind of, it's not that common for a first year starter.
No.
Win that. I mean, what was that? Bryce Young? It's not a lot of people.
No.
Oh, he didn't win did Bryce Young win the Heisman?
I can't remember.
No, I can't remember. But it's for a first year starter on a big time team to win the Heisman is rare.
Yeah.
It's normally it's somebody who's had some game experience. It's not obvious who's going to win it's not obvious.
Bryce Young won in 2021.
He did? Okay, right. So it's pretty rare though. It's like, when was the last time that happened? It's usually someone with namesake from that's been playing at least a year or two.
Yeah, so he's the only. It's interesting that he's one of the favorites, considering he hasn't started before, like you said. And the only other person in that category is Julian Sayin, which is plus 1,600. Makes sense where the odds are significantly higher for him. But also on a really good team.
Right. So that's the bias here. It's always like the top. So what do we've got? LSU, Texas, Clemson, Ohio State, Oregon, another Ohio State, Penn State. Those are all the teams in the top like 6 or 7. Then Tennessee. So okay, so I'm kind of going the other direction here. I understand that it's a super long shot to go with somebody like Jalen Daniels on Kansas, even though he has what I would say the Heisman toolbox.
Yep,
like he's a gunslinger. He's not afraid to throw it. Kind of got him in trouble last year, but they finished the season hot. But he's not in a big time conference, and he's not on a big time team. But he can run, he can throw. He's the dual threat type of quarterback that gets you enough stats to get you the Heisman. Yep. It's not typically going to be a pocket passer anymore. It's going to be a guy who runs for 1,000 yards, throws for whatever, 1,500, 2,000, and like 40 touchdowns combined. Like that's the sort of thing.
The only pushback I'd have about that is how the team does, right? So I still think the team overall doing really well is an important thing in the Heisman vote.
Oh, I'm 100% saying the same thing. What I'm saying is he's in a small conference, and if he doesn't, he's not in one of the Power 2 conferences, let's call them now, the SEC and the Big Ten. And unless he completely demolishes the Big 12 and puts up absurd stats, I think they're still going to go with one of these guys on one of these more popular teams.
Yeah, I agree. Even if they went like 10-1 or 10-2 or something like that, just the fact that it's Kansas, I think would, he's not going to beat out, even if someone just throws for 3,000 yards and like 25 or 30 TDs or something like that, but like they win the SEC and they had no running yards, that person's still going to beat out.
Right. It was Travis Hunter winning it last year out of the Big 12. It was exceptional because, well, it's Colorado, so they have a bit of hype around them. Plus, he's a generational we've never seen anything like that.
No, plus it was 2 years at that too. Do you know? I think that also factored in. Like
probably
it wasn't
people
like
just familiar with it.
like it was going into the season. You're like, this guy plays both ways. He got a lot of hype from the beginning. I think that played into it too.
Also, there's some also Heisman voters. I think some of them don't really pay attention. Like I watched some of the Cover 3 talks about this, and some of the other podcasts, Josh Pate, that some of the Heisman voters, they just sort of scan it real quickly to see who's popular and just pick one. They're not all of them are as into it as someone like a Josh Pate or the Cover 3 guys who really take it seriously. So I think that's where some of this, Arch Manning. Yeah. To me, the big thing is it's a Manning, and all of the casual voters, let's say, if there's such thing as a casual Heisman voter, I think they're just going to be like, did Texas do good? Arch Manning? Yeah, we'll just pick him. Like I don't think they're going to get into the weeds and be John Mateer really kicked ass at Oklahoma. It's like,
I agree. I think it's if Texas is really good and Arch Manning has like decent stats, then there's a reason why he's favorite.
Right. Okay. So
I agree with your overall thesis of like, usually it's not a first time starter. So
no. Yeah. So that's why I'm shocked that Arch Manning is this high. But then what I just said, he's the most famous name in this list.
Yeah.
So that's why he's that high. I mean, head to head, I would pick Nussmeier over Manning, given that they're the two shortest odds here, just because Nussmeier's got all the experience.
Yep.
They're returning.
LSU's going to be good.
They're going to be good. Now they're both in a brutal conference with their schedules are just going to be tough, but it provides for Heisman moments. You know how they say yours are Heisman moments?
Yep.
Like they're going to be up against massive big time teams, and they're going to have multiple chances for it to be like, oh, remember when he did this against Georgia, or when he did that against Alabama. So there's at least that. But I just can't get on board with this Manning thing. Like first year, no way. So out of those two, if those are the two safest, I would lean towards Nussmeier, but I'm not taking either of those. But I get why Nussmeier's there. I don't. The Manning thing is no.
Okay.
I'm just out on that completely.
All right.
And then so those would be your safe bets, right? Like what I would say is your super safe bets here. I don't buy the Klubnik thing, even though this is his fourth year. I don't think he's good enough to put up like the type of season that voters are going to want to vote on or see. Then my sort of value bet here. So I got kind of three categories for the Heisman. I've got your super safe bet, which is it is the Nussmeier, to me, is the safe bet. Then I've got the value bet where there is some return here, and these are type of players. So there's a decent return, like we're in the 1,000, 2,000 plus 1,000 plus 2,000 range, and they've got serious talent, serious upside, and starts. We've seen these people play, and so I think, to me, the number one is Lenore Sellers.
Ooh!
So I got him at plus 1,800. What do you see over there?
Yeah, I got plus 2,000. So yeah, that's a good value.
Sellers at plus 2,000. The guy's big, he's fast, he's strong, he can throw, he can run, and he's only just getting better. And if a couple of things bounced the right way, they could have won the SEC last year. Like that guy's got the toolbox. Yeah. And if he continues to improve, he just looks like your dual threat, almost like a Cam Newton-ish style. Like he's just got it all. So to me, that's one of your true value bets.
Yeah.
And right along with that, and then I'll let you have the floor for a bit. My other major value bet here, and there's going to be a lot, is DJ Lagway.
Okay.
He started a good chunk of this season, and he was improving game after game, and then the Gators just went on a tear at the end of the season, and he just kept looking better and better. And he's got that toolbox. He can run, he can throw, he can get out of trouble, he can extend plays. He's got the dual threat. He's got all of it, right? Physically, he's got it all. So he's got the toolbox, and they're going to have a brutal schedule, but also provides for, oh my God, he beat LSU. Oh, he beat Georgia. Like he's got those moments,
Heisman
right?
moments, like you said.
Sellers and Lagway, to me, are the value bets at plus 2,000 here, if that's what you're seeing. And they got the toolbox. They're in the conference for all the big time games. They're in the big time conferences. So to me, those are your two value bets. And
gotcha.
Do you want me to throw in my long shot, or do you want to leave it at that?
Who are you actually picking, and why?
Well, okay. So Lagway, We're going to be a little bit of a homer here, but the way that season ended and just the way that team came together and Lagway's tool set and the amount of starts we saw and the teams he beat, like I know Texas kicked their ass, but I don't even think he played that game.
Yeah.
He just looks like he's putting it together. The Gators are the type of organization that can do this. Mm-hmm. There's a history that this team can excel all the way to winning it all and multiple Heismans. So it's all there. And I'm wondering if there's still some of that in the Heisman voters. Like, oh, it's the Florida Gators. Oh, they can win Heismans. Like, given equal numbers and equal record, I think Lagway would be given the Heisman over Sellers, let's say, if they have like the same, only because he's in the Gator uniform versus the Gamecocks uniform. Even if they kind of show up the same in the same conference with the same numbers, my guess is some of those casual Heisman voters just look and see it's the Florida Gator guy.
Right.
So he'll get it. So
I got you.
And I'm just I'm just assuming the team around them keeps improving. They are a Bud Elliott blue chip ratio team. So there's enough good players on that team. And even with, I mean, they pushed Georgia to the limit last year. They like when he was in, that team could beat, it looked like at the end of the season, that team could pretty much beat anyone in that conference when he was in, and they were all playing like full speed. So that's my value bet there. I got him at plus 2,000.
Yep. No, we can get him plus 2,200 here today. So
then I'm plus 22 is better.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. I agree with a lot of your thought process. Arch Manning being the favorite, having never started, is a little hard for me to do. Texas is going to be good. So I understand why he's favorite. I think people want to bet on him. I think that's why you're not getting much value for that money, but I'm just not going to take the favorites and get that poor value for someone that hasn't started yet. So,
right.
Nussmeier that's a safer bet, like you said, because it's LSU, but I don't think that they're going to do it either. I had this exact same feeling about Klubnik. It's just something about him. I just don't think he's like, Clemson's good and they're going to do fine. The ACC is not very strong, but I can't see him winning. Drew Aller, same thing. I just can't. He's been okay, I feel like, most of his career. I can't believe there's going to be a huge breakout. And the way that Penn State runs their offense, I don't think he's going to have the numbers for it. Jeremiah Smith would be my favorite, except I don't know exactly who's throwing to him.
I think Sayin, I guess, is going to be the starter.
But right? We don't know. Like, and it might take a few weeks to get things rolling or something. I don't know. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't pick him. Same with Sayin. So Sayin is similar to Manning in terms of like first year starter, should be really good. But
Jeremiah Smith might actually be the best player in this entire list. But he's downstream of who's throwing the ball to him, and he just can't. He can only do what he can when they throw the ball to him. Yeah. And so, like, let's say imagine if he had a second or third year starter like Nico or one of these other just somebody who's got experience throwing to him
a little bit. Like if what's his name, who was there last year,
Will Howard,
if he was coming back.
Oh yeah,
Smith would be, his odds would be better than
way
this,
better. Yeah.
Right. So So anyway, it's just because it's a first year guy throwing, and they'll probably want to like run the ball, try and protect the first year, like not put it all in the freshman's hands, or he might be a redshirt freshman, but like all in Sayin's hands, like from day one, So that's the only reason I'm not picking him. The Carson Beck, I'm not sure how he's going to be coming off the injury in Miami. It's not bad because again, they're in a winnable conference too. But I'm just not sure about the injury.
Yeah, they're one of the top two talent teams in that whole conference. So theoretically he should tear it up, but how's he going to be in a new offense coming off an injury?
Yeah. And Dante Moore has always had the talent, but hasn't started for 2 or 3 years now. So I think he'll be good at Oregon, but that's a bit of a long shot. So that leaves me to my official pick, which I'm going to bet is Nico at Tennessee. And because I think that Georgia, I think it's Georgia at Tennessee this year in the regular season, and Tennessee misses Texas, whereas Georgia has to play them. So I think in terms of finishing higher in the East, there's the road for Tennessee.
Yep.
And so if they're representing the East in the SEC championship game, and he plays well, I think he has a good chance to get it.
The
and
East, do they even have divisions anymore? I don't think so.
No, but but like in terms of finishing ahead of Georgia, just because they don't play Texas is what I meant. So So that's, that I feel like, and the plus 1600, I think, is also good value for that. So that's similar to your thought process for Lagway, to be honest. Like it's either one. And it's just the fact that Nico had a bit better year, I think, than Lagway last year. So, and Tennessee, they could really put the points up if that comes around again. So,
and Heupel's offense lends itself to that. Now they need to improve for him to win it.
Yeah,
the guy get a little bit better than last year, but assuming his second year starting, he's just going to be better overall.
I did hesitate over Gunnar Stockton because I think Georgia's going to be really good, and that's a big number.
And I got plus 3,300.
Yeah, I got plus 2,800 here, but it's like so it's a huge number. But like that's there, it's either they're going to be in the running for the SEC championship too. So like pretty sure. So
yeah, they'll always be there. It's just again a first year starter. It's really tough to pick a first year starter. I mean, he has to look amazing.
Yes,
for it to work out as a first year starter.
Yeah,
I mean, so yeah, okay. Well, those are our picks. My only mega long shots that I wanted to pick, but I just couldn't. Was Jalen Daniels at Kansas I got him plus 6,000.
Yeah, so do I.
Then on that first year starter thing, Bryce Underwood at Michigan at plus 6,000.
Ooh,
if that team's returning
a good one too,
a really good defense.
Yes.
Well, it's just reloading at this point. Their recruiting classes are good enough that they're just going to reload on defense. And apparently he's that good. So I know it's a tough one, but again, Bryce Young is the model that it's possible. And Underwood's a physical specimen. I think he's 6'3", like 225. Like the guy's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a couple interviews with him. He sounds really smart, well-spoken.
Mm-hmm.
He already looks like he's got the confidence. So he looks the part, but again, coming right out of high school, we don't know. So that was one of my other long shots that I really was, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's, and it also, what really lends itself to that is that team is going to have a good defense. They're going to prioritize running the ball. So it's not like they're asking him to like go out and win games himself. You know what I mean? So like I think he's going into a good situation, which is,
and that schedule's got the Heisman games on it. Like, if he has the play that beats Ohio State, that's there's a possibility for like, he won the Heisman on that play, sort of thing.
Here's another way of looking at it. I think the chance that Julian Sayin wins the Heisman and the chance that the Michigan QB wins the Heisman should be about the same, because they're both first year starters on good teams, except on one of them you're getting plus 1,600 and the other one you're getting plus 6,000. So
they're really expecting Sayin to I just think they must think that team's just better.
It's a good team. It's a good team. Jeremiah Smith is amazing. Like they are, but I don't. Did you see what I'm saying though?
Yeah, no, I totally get
first year starters. So I don't know why it shouldn't be that much of a difference. So that would be one of those, like, put $10 on and you'd love to get 600 back if the guy wins it.
And then my much longer shot is Damon Williams Jr. at Washington. He looked good at the end of the season, especially in the bowl game there. He just looked like, oh God, they've got something here. Now, again, he's going to just be, this is going to be the first season he's going to be starting. So we have no idea if that's an anomaly or if he can play that well, but he really flashed in the bowl game. So complete flyer at plus 10,000 here. If you want to throw a couple bucks on him, but my pick's Lagway, and Dover's got Nico. For pretty much the same reasons. They're in the
exactly, and it's because it's going to be, and that's the East is going to be, it's going to be tight this year.
East.
Because
no East.
The teams from the East are going to be tight this year because it's the Tennessee, South Carolina, and Florida. Like they're all everyone's up and coming. It seems,
and we're not discounting the good teams. There's just so many of the teams that are usually around the top that usually are in the mix for the Heisman are starting new guys.
Yeah,
that's the. Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, all those teams, it's just somebody new. Alabama, it's going to be somebody new. Like all of those teams, it's somebody new.
The only thing that has me worried about this too is that usually about halfway through the season, there's at least one running back that's like getting some attention, and there's like no one on this list really, which is a little surprising. If
Genty couldn't have won it, what could the next guy do?
No, I get that, but I mean, like there'd be there will be a running back in the talk at some point.
But yeah. That's okay. All right. Well, you got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, that's our way too early Heisman picks. Check back in on the channel when we do our conference winners. Catch you later.